Hey guys, this is Ackleyattack4427 here with a brand new thoughts video for all of you guys, and, well, you guys managed to tune into, of course, this one, since after the previous one that I put up well over an hour ago, for sure. Good for you, for sure. So I guess that means I decided to give you guys another thoughts video as an added bonus. Yeah, I think that pretty much makes sense. I mean, hey, seeing how I did manage to get myself in for a double feature this time around, I think it makes sense for me to put out two thoughts videos on the exact same day, for sure. And, well, of course, if you have recalled, of course, the previous thoughts video that I did on, of course, Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, for sure, right? I actually gave a little hint, of course, another movie that I actually got to see around the exact same day, for sure, probably by the time I'm recording this video, for sure. So yeah, I think that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. So sorry about that. So yeah, I guess with that being said, I think we might as well get right on to the latest movie that we actually got to see as a pretty interesting follow-up to, of course, pretty much the last movie I talked about, for sure. So yeah. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys may be wondering, what am I talking about this time around? Well, that's actually quite simple. I guess for the latest movie, I think we pretty much, I think it's about time that we actually talk about a certain comic strip, of course, pretty much a orange cat, for sure, that pretty much has an absolute love for a lasagna, for sure, and yeah, and of course B really absolutely hates Mondays, for sure. Yeah, I think you can pretty much see, of course, what I'm gonna be talking about, for sure. I mean, the hint that I actually gave might have actually given it away, for sure. And you did read the title, of course, this video, for sure. So yeah. But in case you couldn't get the puzzle pieces together, I think it makes sense for me to talk about this latest movie that I just got to see earlier today, for sure, alongside Furiosa, as part of my double feature that I did, which is none other than the Garfield movie. So yeah, that's, of course, what I'm going to be talking about here today, for sure. It is not only the latest film that just came out, for sure, but it's also based around one of the most well-known comic strip characters of all time, which is, of course, Garfield. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright. Alrighty then, so yeah, before I could go ahead and talk about this latest movie, I think it makes sense to actually talk about, well, Garfield in a nutshell, for sure. And by all means, who doesn't know Garfield, for sure? Yeah, even to this day, amongst plenty of other comic strip characters that we all know and love, for sure, like, of course, Calvin and Hobbes, and, of course, the Peanuts, and that's just to name a few, and, oh yeah, even Family Circus, for sure, and again, that's just to name me a few. I guess there's no doubt in anybody's mind, for sure, that Garfield is definitely one of the most recognizable, for sure, when it comes to some well-known comic strip artists over the comic strip characters of all time, for sure. So yeah, I think, I guess it's what I can say, of course, that front. Pretty much starting out as just a regular old comic strip and making his way to a pretty much a full-on cartoon, for sure, and even expanding, of course, other forms of media, whether it be for better or for worse, for sure. yeah, I guess if anything, I do think there's no doubt in my mind that Garfield is definitely one it's definitely one character that we still can't help but love and admire for sure. So yeah. I think it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. And even with me, personally, because, yeah, I guess, if anything, I did have a bit of a connection with, of course, Garfield, for sure. Whether it be, I would actually watch some of the specials, a little bit of the movies, and, of course, pretty much one of the shows that he was actually in, for sure, to even pretty much people making references to Garfield for sure. So yeah, I guess there's no doubt in my mind that I did have a bit of a connection with Garfield for sure. So yeah, when I heard the news about pretty much this latest movie that just came out not too long ago, I got myself quite curious to see how it'll go for sure, because yeah, I'd be quite interested to see how they're gonna pull this off for sure. And certainly based on what I've actually seen in the trailers, it definitely looks a whole lot better than the live action films with Bill Murray for sure. So yeah, pretty much those movies are actually so terrible, even Bill Murray will actually admit to that for sure. So yeah, and if you have seen the clip from the first Zombieland movie where Bill Murray actually admitted Garfield sucks, so yeah, that's pretty much his alongside all of our reactions to the live action movies in a nutshell for sure. So yeah, I think it's what I can say, of course, that front. So yeah, I guess since after seeing Furiosa for sure, I actually got myself into, of course, go and actually see this movie for myself, just to see on how they're gonna pull this off for sure. And yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. So yeah, with that being said, now that I finally got out of course, seeing this movie for sure, a lot of you guys may be wondering, what do I think of this one now that it finally came out? Well, I guess to me, I may have an unpopular opinion by far. I mean, yeah, and I know a lot of you guys are going to be a little disappointed by all this, but yeah, honestly, this movie is not pretty good in my opinion, and yeah, I mean, by all means, it's not the worst I've actually seen by far. Yeah, far from it. I actually think this film is basically your run-of-the-mill bad for sure. So yeah. Yeah, didn't actually like it for what it is, but by all means, I don't hate it for sure, though. Granted, I actually do, but I think it's not the worst I've actually seen by far. I've seen other films that are actually much worse for sure, but I'll give this film credit for this. I didn't dislike it as much as the live action movies for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright, I guess I'm done with that. Alrighty then, so yeah, now that I've actually got the short version out of the way, I guess I'll go ahead and talk about everything that I need to talk about for sure. For starters is, of course, the story, and yeah, I think pretty much of anything story-wise, I really do like, of course, what it's actually offered for sure, and even from the trailers from what I've actually seen, it does kind of look like it would actually go in a pretty interesting direction that I really do admire, and sometimes it actually does follow through on that, but it's just too bad that it's pretty much derailed a bit by a few elements that did kind of feel a little disjointed, and some cliches that really tried to kill the mood of course, this movie for sure. So yeah, honestly, I really do like the ideas, of course, of what they decide to go for sure, but But most of the time, I just kind of felt the film kind of derailed itself from what it's actually trying to do, and does kind of feel disjointed from what I can gather for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say. Of course, the story for sure. Now, of course, for the writing, I have to say, honestly, to me, I actually do think the writing in this film is just way too sloppy from what I can gather, and yeah, I don't really think it is actually well crafted out writing-wise for sure to actually make this all the more engaging for sure. If anything, I find myself getting lost, of course, a good number of areas, and of course, this movie for sure that really does kind of make it feel a little unfocused from what I can gather for sure. So yeah, even the comedy, I have to say, yeah, none of the jokes from what I can gather, or even some gags and stuff that actually makes Garfield pretty much recognizable for sure. Yeah, it's not really on its A game for sure to really make it stand out quite well for sure. If anything, I actually find myself in complete silence pretty much upon hearing these jokes. They were that bad for sure. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much all what I can say for all those aspects in a nutshell for sure. They do have some really good ideas thrown into it, but I really do felt they were executed poorly for sure. And yeah, it does kind of feel disjointing all over the place for sure. That really does pretty much really does derail the plot for sure. So yeah, it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright then, so now they've actually got those out of the way, I guess I'll go ahead and talk about the next couple of things I need to talk about for sure. So for starters is, of course, the characters, and well, I guess if you know anything, I mean, everything revolving around Garfield for sure. We all know the characters for sure, like, of course, not just Garfield for sure, but also pretty much Ogie, John Arbuckle, and of course Liz the Yvette, Normal, and that's just to name a few for sure. And I guess for the case of the characters, and of course this movie, well, if there's anything I can find as the bright side for, of course, this movie is that, well, I do think the characters are fine from what I can gather. I mean, granted, they're not terrible characters all the way, but I wouldn't find myself pretty much finding them likable and interesting from what I can gather. I do think they're fine for what they are, and they actually did have a pretty decent sense of development that I can easily get just fine for sure. Granted, I think there are some that I've actually seen coming from like a mile away for sure, but the development for, of course, the characters are fine for what it is to actually try their best to actually make them work for sure. And yeah, I guess either way, that's pretty much the best I can actually give for all the characters for sure. I mean, they're not great by all means, but they're not terrible for sure. They're just fine for what they are for sure. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much what I can say for, of course, the characters and, of course, this movie for sure. Now, as for all the actors that came on board to play all these characters, well, I mean, they're not bad choices from what I can gather, but of course, they actually did give off some pretty decent performances from what I can gather for sure. I mean, not fully from what I can gather, but I do think they are decent enough for what it is, but of course, the one thing I can address is, of course, pretty much Chris Pratt for sure playing Garfield, and of course this movie. Now to be fair, I actually do admire Chris Pratt as a actor for sure, and I have seen him, yeah, I have seen him in plenty of other movies that are actually good for sure, and I guess for the case of this movie, from what I can gather, well, it's not terrible. Yeah, it's not a terrible performance from what I've actually seen, and I think his commitment to actually make Garfield his own is actually fine for what it is, and I guess to me, it is slightly a little better than when he played Mario in, of course, the Super Mario Brothers movie that we got last year for sure. But, of course, it's not fully enough to really make this movie work entirely for sure. Yeah, I think he's still got to work with the crap material that he's actually been giving for sure, but I do think he actually did portray Garfield just fine for sure. Not really fully much to match the style given to us from Lorenzo Music in the cartoon for sure. But thankfully he did give off his A game that is a little better than what Bill Murray actually gave us for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front for sure. And with those two aspects alone, I think you can pretty much get the idea, of course, that front. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright. Alright, so now that I've actually got those two out of the way, what else is there for me to talk about? Actually, quite a whole lot for sure on how, now the direction, of course, in this film from the film's director, I will have to say, I really don't think it actually is quite engaging from, of course, what I can gather for sure. And most of the time, I just kind of felt pretty much it's a little bit more lost from what I can gather, as opposed to giving us something that is a lot of that is showing a lot of hard-working effort to really make this movie work for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, on that front for sure. And the animation for sure. Again, if there's one bright side from what I can gather, I really do think the animation is actually done fine for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's not great from what I can gather, but it's not terrible either. Yeah, I think pretty much from what I can recall animation-wise, I really do think it is trying its best to actually match the look and the style of course, the original comic strip for sure, to which, yeah, I guess it's not bad from what I can gather. I really do admire, of course, on the hard-working effort to make this movie look amazing for sure. But even in the 3 dimensions from what I can gather, my biggest issue by far is that I do kind of felt it could have gone the same route as the animation style given to us in of course, the Peanuts movie for sure. So yeah. I think that's what I can say, of course, that front. The animation is not bad from what I can gather. I really do admire the hard-working effort to actually make this movie look amazing for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. And thankfully, another bright side to, of course, this movie. So yeah, and of course, the cinematography in this film, well, pretty much from what I can recall, it did provide some pretty decent camera shots from what I can gather. Nothing anything that great entirely, but still fine for what it is for sure. So yeah, and of course the A-ing, I have to say, yeah, there's one thing I can say. I do think the A in this film does kind of feel disjointed from what I can gather, and yeah, nothing is really cut up just so well to actually make this movie great. And if anything, I do find myself pretty much thinking that this film is really cluttered up to go alongside the pacing for sure, to which it's another thing I actually can say. The pacing, of course, of this film, yeah, I guess for me personally, I really do think the film's pacing is probably way too cartoony from what I can gather, and I really couldn't get myself fully admit, of course, everything that goes on for sure. So yeah, it's almost like the film is actually all over the place from what I can gather to actually not making actually all the more fun to watch for sure, or even identifiable. So yeah, I don't even know what goes on while they were making this for sure, but that's pretty much everything that I can say, of course, that front for sure. So yeah, it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright. So yeah, I guess with all that said and done, that's pretty much everything that I can say, of course, this film for sure. So yeah, overall, the Garfield movie, well, I guess quite frankly, it's not great by all means, but of course, if anything, it is bad, yes, but I definitely don't think it's actually one of the worst flicks I've actually seen by far. I just think it's your run-of-the-mill bad for sure. I mean, don't get me wrong, almost nothing about this movie actually works quite well, and I really couldn't gain a good sense on what makes Garfield so identifiable through this flick for sure. So yeah, I mean, besides, I mean, we all know that we have seen plenty of other stuff involving Garfield that are actually much worse by far. So yeah, I guess that's what I could say for, of course, that pretty much in a nutshell for sure. I can't say this movie is actually the worst by far. In fact, I know hands down we have seen plenty of other pretty much Garfield-related media that is actually far worse by far, which again, the live-action movies with Bill Murray will definitely come into mind for sure. But I will give this movie a credit for sure, right? Yeah, I didn't dislike it as much as I hate the Bill Murray versions by far for sure. So, if anything, I do think the best way I can actually describe this movie is that it's not really pretty much one movie that you would actually get yourself hooked on if you're a fan of Garfield for sure. But I think the best way I can describe it is that I think this is one movie that I know little kids can actually like more for sure, and it's just a little something to put on to keep them quiet for an hour and a half for sure. So yeah, I think that's probably the best way I can actually describe this movie in a nutshell for sure. So yeah, I can't even say it's one of the worst flicks I've actually seen for this year. Take that for what it's worth. So yeah, I guess if you are in for something that will actually keep your kids quiet for an hour and a half for sure, then by all means, this movie is definitely a harmless waste of time for sure. But if you're looking for something that will actually get you hooked on and actually pretty much gives you something that pretty much showcase almost everything that you love about Garfield, then yeah, chances are you're probably not going to get much with this for sure, right? And I think it's safe to say that pretty much of anything, when you actually look up Garfield, and one of the main aspects is that he always gives off a reaction whenever pretty much he absolutely hates Mondays. I think that's pretty much the same reaction you're gonna get after seeing this flick for sure. So yeah, it's not by all means the worst I've actually seen, but I definitely do think it's your typical run-of-the-mill bad flick for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. So yeah, for my final score, yeah, I guess if anything, yeah, I guess for my final score, yeah, I think I'll definitely give this film a 4.5 out of 10 as my final score. Yeah, like I said, it is your typical run-of-the-mill bad flick by far for sure, but But yeah, I can't even say it's one of the worst flicks I've actually seen in my entire life, let alone for this year for sure. So yeah, take that for what it's worth. So yeah, I guess about anything, pretty much for what it is, I guess pretty much for something for little kids, I'm sure they will probably like it a whole lot more. But of course, if anything, it is uniquely bad for what it is. But of course, as a pretty much for anyone who is actually a big, long-time fan of Garfield, yeah, you're probably not going to get much from what you can gather. And I think it's safe to say that pretty much much like us having a reaction to, of course, this film and being like Garfield's reaction whenever Mondays comes around, chances are I think this is one piece of lasagna that I know hands down that any of us, let alone Garfield himself, will actually be chowing down on anytime soon. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright. And I guess on that thought, that'll pretty much do exactly that, so yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this latest thoughts video, and by all means, I want to ask all of you guys, what do you think of the Garfield movie, if you have actually seen it? Do you absolutely enjoy it for what it is, and think it's a really good family slash kids flick that you can get through just fine? Or are you like me and you absolutely didn't like it, but thankfully it's not as bad as the Bill Murray version by a far? Or are you somewhere in between where you think it's okay for sure? So yeah, let me know in the comment section below on what you thought of this movie for sure. I would definitely love to know on what you guys think. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Thank you guys so much for watching this latest thoughts video, and I guess on that thought, hope all of you guys have a really great Memorial Day weekend for sure, and hope it actually does go well for sure. And yeah, I guess on that thought, I think that'll be a great way to conclude the amount of movies I've actually seen for the month of May for sure. And yeah, quite interesting. Yeah, quite another busy month for me in terms of movies for sure. But I got through all of them for sure. So yeah, and I guess the only question is, what ones am I gonna go see for, of course, this summer, starting with June coming up next month? Well, probably not much from what I can gather, but you're definitely gonna have to wait and see for yourself for sure. So yeah, but until that comes around, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Special thanks to all of my supporters on Patreon for making today's video possible, including my top tier supporters for this month, VD. So if you want to be like these guys and show your support to us, then go to patreon.com/Ackleyattack427 to pledge now, do so, and get some awesome rewards within your budget. Hey guys, this is Ackleyattack4427 here. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. Feel free to like, comment, and share if you enjoy what you're seeing. If you like what you see here and want to see more videos coming up, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and switch on the notification bell to get notifications, and select all notifications to be notified for when we post a new video. And don't forget to switch on notifications on your phone as well. Also, don't forget to check out my second channel and our 2-member channel with Sam the Thomas Fan 1, SamAttack4427 Productions, for plenty more content you can't find on here. You can check both of our channels out with the links or by our handles provided on screen. Feel free to shoot me an email with my email address provided, backley95@hotmail.com, if you want to ask me a question, want to collab with me for a project you've got in the works, or if you want to book me to be featured for a convention coming up. Follow me on my social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to keep up to date with me on updates, announcements, and new releases of my videos, as well as plenty of others I've got with my handles provided, as well as the links down in the description box below. Also, don't forget to follow me on TikTok for other videos I've got aside from the ones I'm posting on YouTube, and on Twitch for any future live streams I've got coming up soon, as well as join our official Discord server to see what we've provided. If you wish to show your support to me, then feel free to check out my Patreon to get sneak peeks of my videos coming up before they go up online, as well as getting access to updates and playing more, in addition to getting some awesome rewards within your budget. Also, don't forget to check out and show your support to me on my wishlist on Amazon, and even supporting me at streamlabs.com/Ackleyattack427's/tip that you can find in the description box below, as well as on my Twitch page. And in case you can't find any of the links that are provided, then not to worry about a thing. All the links and stuff are also provided on my link tree that you can also find in the description box below, as well as a few selected number of my social media pages. Other than that, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be sure to see you in the next video. Take care.